Well, the recent push in education is all about STEM, science, tech, engineering, and math. So where does that leave the arts? In Ontario, a recent look at arts funding in schools found that half of the provinces have an arts budget of less than $1,000. The organization People for Education found that half of Ontario elementary schools have arts budgets of less than $1,000, as we just said. So joining us now to talk about the importance of education is Annie Kidder. It's good to repeat it because it's a shocking statistic. Clarify for me, is that per student or for the entire year, for the entire program?
That's for the entire year, for the entire program, and lots of them have under $500 as their arts budgets. Now, there are schools where the arts budgets are $100,000, so there's a kind of vast range there.
Any kind of reading you do, even guests that we've had on this program, say that's where the jobs of the future are, in STEM, science, technology, education, and math. So what's the importance still of arts and education if that's the future?
Well, I think there's two things that are important. One, you can actually get jobs in the arts. My husband's an actor. It works that way. But even more importantly, the skills that you learn through the arts serve you well no matter what you end up doing. So they serve you well if you're in STEM because you learn to persist, you learn to work hard, you learn to collaborate, you learn to fail, take criticism, try again, look at what you're doing with a critical eye. That is what critical thinking is. So all of those skills, no matter what job you're going to have in the future or what you're going to do in high school or for the rest of your life, understand other cultures, understand yourself, be able to express yourself. You learn those in the arts.
Do the arts need a bit of a rebrand, Annie? We also hear a lot about emotional intelligence is important. So could we maybe rebrand arts as building emotional intelligence?
Well, I think it's one thing, but even, I think if the rebranding maybe has to sound more serious, emotion, people go, yeah, whatever, emotions. But I think that the idea that the arts are somehow an extra sort of frill, something that we don't need, that's the thing we need to change. And it's understanding that those are skills, they're real competencies, they're teachable, they're learnable, they're concrete. You're not just born creative or not creative. It's part of the school system's job, and it can do that, to give you that wide range of skills.
Part of the study that we acknowledged off the top was that socioeconomics play a big role in whether or not there's arts funding for the school. How did the two relate?
Well, we were really shocked by that. So we survey all the schools in Ontario, and then we compared our data with data from Statistics Canada, and we're really surprised at how strong the relationship was, so that it made a huge difference to your arts budget. It seems obvious how much fundraising you can do, but then, of course, the next thing is how much fundraising you can do depends on the average family income. It also made a difference in terms of parents' education level. So what we saw is kids in schools that had higher levels of income and higher parental education were more likely to be able to participate in a band or a choir or a play or have an artist into the schools, and even more likely in elementary school to have a music teacher. That really shouldn't be the case. But what it means is that, parents' capacity for advocacy, their kind of social capital, and their money makes a difference in terms of the kind of health of the arts program in the school. And that shouldn't be the case because, again, all kids should have access to this.
What are some ideas then for schools to be able to incorporate more arts into the classrooms? Because as you mentioned, not everybody even has a music teacher.
Well, I think that, and schools are, I think that it's important to sort of situate this, and we, do a pretty good job in Ontario, and we have really strong public schools. But I think that one of the things is making sure there are enough consultants or arts people that aren't necessarily teaching every class, but that are helping teachers with that. I think it's important as a society and as policymakers that we're remembering the arts are really important. And yes, math is important. No question about that. But if we kind of put all our eggs in one basket, which we do a little bit right now, we get very head up about STEM or about math, that we tend to kind of swing all there and then sometimes leave out the rest. So music education, arts education, drama and dance, those are core skills too.
Do you think part of it is because when you're dealing with a school where you sometimes have a lower socioeconomic bracket, they want their kids in jobs that seem reliable, that will pay well, that will give them benefits. And typically, art jobs don't have that kind of security.
Oh, that's totally true. But again, it's important to remember, if we look at all the stuff that, the World Economic Forum, everybody says right now about what jobs there are going to be in the future. A, we don't even know what they're going to be, about 30% of them. And B, they are going to be jobs where you're going to need a broad range of skills. So gone is the day where I can learn to do one thing. Maybe hands-on skilled trades, we're going to always need a plumber. people should go into plumbing. But it does, even there, you need those other skills. So I think the thing we know about the economy right now and jobs is that employers are looking for people who can think creatively and critically, who can persist, who can not collapse when they're criticized, but actually go back in there, who can work hard and practice, and understanding that learning things takes time. So those skills are important no matter what you're going to be when you grow up.
Good to have you here on this. Thanks.
Thank you very much.